All right, so you just got your BowBars in the mail and you're looking to assemble it. I'm gonna walk through that real quick so you know how to do it. You don't have to struggle through it. It'll go really easy. First, you'll have a clamp that'll look like this. The base plate is slid onto the end of the clamp. All you gotta do is just grab a hold of it and pull. You might have to pull pretty hard to kind of get it in there, pull it out. But this is the plate that's gonna go on the bench. So you're gonna position that wherever you want it. There should be 4 screws in the box, so you can use those if you want to use them on the countersink, just to screw it down instead of using the clamp. But if you're just looking for a temporary fixation, you just use this guy. You can put it in either of the 2 holes on each side, so it doesn't matter. And you can run it as far in or out as you want. So what you can do is you can position the block further into the bench if you want a little bit more stable, or position it closer to the edge. But just by moving it in and out of that hole. Now you'll just put your block where you want it, run on your clamp here, and we'll tighten this guy down snug. So, just like that there. Now that you got your base plate on, if you order the full kit, you're gonna get the micro adjust plate. This guy just threads on here, just like so. Tighten her down. It doesn't matter which way you have it, because you can rotate the ball, the base of the ball. I'll show you that here real quick. So you can line it up with whichever knob you want. Tighten this guy down. That's the next step. You might have to tighten the handle a little bit in order to screw it down tight, because if it's loose, you can see that the ball head actually spins around on the base itself. So you'll need that tightened down in order to get it snugged up. So now that that's tight, got that on there. We have to break the ball loose a little bit just to see it wiggle. Then we go on to the BowBars. So these guys, in order to get these apart, the bottom plate, you just take your 2 thumbs, you'll push up on it. There's a little slide to remove arrow just to show you kind of how to do that. And there's the bottom plate. Same with the top one, just take your 2 thumbs, push up, it'll slide right out. Then you got your thumb bolt and your through knob. These guys, you unthread a little bit. It's a little taper in here, so just kind of threaded. You eventually pull it out. And then you got your O-ring. So there's a little O-ring right in the middle of this guy. That's kind of an important little piece to this. What you'll do is you'll take a little screw or a little pointy thing, and you can usually get a hold of that little O-ring and pull it off of there. Sometimes it takes a little bit because it's a little tight. I don't want it falling off, so I'm in a little small. What you do with this little O-ring is you'll take your top plate, and the top plate has 3 holes in it. If you use the 2 outside holes are for a solid limbo, so you'll put this extra bolt on one side of the limb, and then you'll use this guy on the other side of the limb and make like a nice clamp with that. If you're using a split limbo, you can just take and run it through the middle, and then you take your O-ring and you put it on the bottom of these threads. And the reason you do that is so that way when you tip it upside down to position it on your bow, it doesn't fall off and you can move it up and down. With the bottom bar, when you go to thread it onto your ball head, it comes with 5 holes now. So you got your 2 outside holes. These are for a solid limbo. And then you got your offset hole here and a center hole. The offset hole is where you want to thread it onto the ball head. The reason being is that if you use the center hole to thread onto the ball head, your bow bar or top bar will sit slightly off because you'll thread it into this hole. It doesn't make any difference for clamping. It's just purely aesthetic, and you can use it either way. You can also thread the ball head onto this offset hole, but this hole is mainly for bows that have a very short distance between the cam and the riser, which makes it hard to fit this bottom plate in there and get the top plate screwed onto it. So say there's a cam right here and the riser is right here, you can't get enough space in there. But for now, we're just gonna use the offset hole. So let's thread that guy on there. Just take and put it on here. And spin it on real quick. Again, you'll want to make sure your ball head's kind of tight so you can at least get a good grip on this top plate so it's not flipping around on you. Then you can loosen it up and you can see how it spins. You can put this handle wherever you want it. So it has 3 holes around the base of this guy. So if you don't like the handle being on the opposite side as the notch, you want it on the side. You can unthread that, put it on the side. So you can tighten that down and get it where you want it. And so that is how you assemble everything up to the point of wanting to mount a bow. Now, if you mount a solid limb bow, like I said, you'll use the 3 holes. It'll kind of look like this, if you can see it there. We got the little bolt that's in the end of this guy is on one side. Usually I'll thread that in, and then I'll flip it over over the top of the limb, and then I'll use the other side to put it down. This is just an Allen key, same standard Allens that you use for all your bow equipment. You just tighten that down, and then you'll spin this through knob and thumb bolt through on the other side. If you're doing a split limb bow, here's a split limb bow. I can kind of mount that up real quick. All it is you just take and you set your split limb bow on there, and you'll take and position this top bar over top of the center hole. Kind of thread it down a little bit. You'll usually feel the bolt bottom out because it'll bottom out on the ball head. If you don't, just screw it in enough so that you get enough threads in there that you're comfortable with tightening the bottom, or the through knob, through knob. All right, tighten this down, spin it all the way. The tri-lobe ones work much better now. I used to use circle ones, but they didn't quite get as tight. So now you got that tightened down, and you can see it holds it pretty well. You can move this wherever you want it. So you spin the bow around, so you can have the handle off to the side. If you wanted to lay it flat, you can tighten it over and tighten it down. It'll hold it just fine for you. Now, yeah, that's pretty much it. The thumb bolt and through knob here has a Allen key in the head as well. Same standard Allens you can use to tighten that guy down. If you do strip out one of these bolts, or if you need just a little bit more tension on this guy, you don't need to tighten it too tight. It's pretty good with just by hand. The ball head with this handle is ratcheting. That being said, you don't have to tighten it really tight. This is a steel bolt, and this is a cast aluminum, or solid machined aluminum, which steel will push into the aluminum a little bit, so you don't need to tighten it all the way down. It might mess with the threads and stuff in there. Just get it snug, and it'll hold the bow just fine. So yeah, that's how you assemble everything, how you mount a bow. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out.